Okay, so welcome to another edition of Featured Business brought to you by Visibility Impact. I'm your host, James Moffat, myself, of course, and our lovely audience and our special 71st guest, 71st, 72nd?
Must be 72nd now, I think. Wasn't it 71st last week?
Oh, yeah, 72nd guest. Yeah.
Yeah, when you get to my age anyway, James, you seem to forget.
Yeah, I'm forgetting how many guests I've had, you see. Right, so Zara, our 72nd guest, so our second of this new year, 2022. Okay, and we have, as usual, Laszlo, yeah, as usual, Laszlo. Hi.
Hi, Laszlo.
Right, we have Emily, weekly singer, and being accompanied by Nicola. Nicola? Okay, I forget names, you see, quickly. And what you get, so I'm going to pass over to you. So if you could just tell us what song you're going to sing, and then the floor is yours.
So we're going to sing a song by Christina Aguilera called "You Lost Me," and it's actually a song that we're preparing for our next concert. So it's quite new, but we're going to give it a go.
All right, you've lost me already. Okay, then if you just set up and give us a quick intro, so I make sure the sound is okay.
Okay.
It's the same setup as last week. Is this your place, Emily?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice flowers.
Thank you. Okay, how's that?
Yeah, okay, over to you.
Okay, yeah. You lost me.
Bravo. Very
Amazing.
good. A beautiful song.
It's a really nice song, isn't it? I only discovered it a couple of months ago, but I really like it.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard it before.
Oh, I hadn't.
Oh, but very nice. So when are you doing a concert?
We haven't got a date yet, but
but you're going to do one.
I'll let you know. Yes.
How did the other one go, by the way?
Oh, really good.
Yes,
it was.
really well.
It was really. Yeah, we were really, really happy.
Did you sell some albums?
Well, not yet, but you guys will be the first purchasers of the albums.
Yeah. No. Yeah. We'd like to hear kind of all your songs. Could you put all your songs together in an album?
Yeah. Well, I'll do them here first, and then get your feedback.
No, I've listened to some of them, so I love it. Okay, if you want to also share maybe in the... Sorry?
What?
You need to surprise us, not to show us everything.
True.
But if you want to share your link or anything to your YouTube channel or anything so people can check out.
Oh yeah, actually we have a new Instagram that like for our music, for our duo. So it'd be amazing if you guys could follow it. Okay,
if you put it in the chat then I'll also copy it to other places.
Okay, thank you. That'd be great.
All right, but you have to shoot now.
We do.
Okay then. Well, thank you again for a beautiful song. So it's going to be both of you singing, playing every week, is it?
Maybe not every week, but sometimes, yeah.
All right, excellent. Okay, look forward to it.
All right,
so,
thanks.
So twins, yes.
So have a wonderful weekend.
You too. You too.
And thanks again. Okay, bye.
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 Thank you.
Right, Zara, the show begins.
Yep, go for it.
Right, so everybody knows Zara? Who knows Zara? Anyway, hands up if you know Zara. I guess Richard does. Maybe we'll just quickly introduce Richard as well. So maybe Richard just wants to say a few words.
Yeah, I'm Zara's husband. I'm here supporting her in this interview. I'm also a qualified accountant, and I've been working from home for 2 years. And we have a lovely little boy, 10-year-old boy called Alex.
Is he there now?
He's somewhere around, yes.
All right. I don't mind if kids pop in because I've done so many where my kids have been sitting on my lap doing the show because couldn't get rid of them. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'd love him to come along. Richard, do you want to go and get him at some point?
Well,
we'll get him at some point, yeah.
Yeah, at some point.
Get him near the end, yeah.
No problem. Okay, and Michael, you know Zara? Can't hear you. Sorry, I muted you earlier because
We don't hear you.
Yeah, he's still muted.
Right, so I can't unmute. I can only mute.
You can ask to unmute.
Okay. Michael, you have to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
No.
There.
Oh yeah.
Got it. Yes, I know Zara and Richard. Yes.
Okay.
And
And
Alex
also,
as well, the little boy.
right, and Zaid does as well.
Yes, and I too know Zara and Richard. We've been friends for over a year now. And I'm a practicing attorney. Previously, I was working as an in-house counsel for in banking and finance field. So that was my 2 cents.
John also knows us, so he's on his iPhone at the moment. So I'm presuming he's busy. He can't appear on camera, but John Lenhart and I, we've known each other for, well, gosh, over a year, maybe longer. Mm-hmm. And he's one of my mentors. He's got a big focus on mental health. So we'll talk all about him later.
Right. So just quickly, so I don't know if you know everyone, but we'll just go very quickly. Laszlo, if you just introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Laszlo Tóth, originally from Hungary. I live in Geneva for 20 plus years now. Nice to meet you.
Right. Bojan?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm Bojan. I'm in Sofia, Bulgaria. I have a small consulting company. Soon we will be a big consulting company. but we do nice things for companies and for individuals. Last year I was the person who was the most regular. This year I felt with the first, but I will try to.
Okay, and over to Paul, Johnny.
Hi. Yeah, hi. So I'm Paul, and I'd been in Bombay before. We shifted to Kerala in India. I'm a computer programmer. I have my own software company called Magazine CRM. We are selling softwares for publishing industry, and we are focused on getting customers in Switzerland. I've been trying from past 6 months, so let's see. So that's the thing. And now my interest is on health and AI related technology. That's the other piece of interest which I have. That's about me. Yeah.
Perfect. Michael, you just want to say what you do?
Yeah, I'm an artist. I created the 𝗘𝗢𝗪𝗧 concept, which is about using my artwork and products and ideas to put back into the community.
Oh, very good. And I'm not sure, Paul in South Africa, we've got some technical issues there, but Paul is in Durban, South Africa. He works with startups, investment, business development, international kind of trading and stuff, all sorts of things. Commodities and gold, I think. No, I'm just joking. John, although I can't see you, I guess you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm kind of running around, so I don't know how long I'm going to stay, but I'm a consultant, work with education, business in the mental health field. I'm sure Zara will talk a lot about that. I just want everybody to know Zara is an amazing connector. She's very unusual because what she does is she finds two people that ought to be connected. She connects them and she essentially walks away from it, and she gives of herself and she helps other people, and she really doesn't ask anything in return. So she's very unusual. And I will tell you, the algorithms on social media have a hard time with her because everybody wants to be a hub. The algorithms only reward people to be a hub, people who connect and try to possess other people. Zara is the exact opposite of that. So I will tell you that everything she's saying about what's happened to her on social media, I can totally back up with math. I just don't want to bore you guys, but looking forward to hearing more of her story.
Perfect. Thanks, John. And she connected us, actually. Right. Anyway, Zara, over to you. So let's get a move on. So you said that you're living in the UK at the moment. So where are you now?
We live in Horsham, which is half an hour south of Gatwick. It's
I know
a quietish town. It's getting a bit busier. They're trying to join it up with Crawley and Gatwick at the moment, but we're still enjoying the quiet town where we can.
Yeah, I used to travel up there, like Pease Pottage and places like that.
It's still there. It's still there.
Yeah.
And it's still quiet.
Yeah. Okay. Right. But you're not originally from the UK.
Well, it's a long story. I am half English, half Iranian.
So which half is which?
I don't know. I never divided myself. My mum is English.
Right.
My father's Iranian.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Salam, 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗥.
𝗬𝗢𝗪𝗏, merci.
That's all I know. But...
That's all you know. Good. Well done. I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I'm impressed. Yeah. So were you born in Iran then?
I was born in a little town called Isfahan. Well, I say little. It's quite a cultural place. It's full of art. And I was there until I was 9 months old before my parents moved to a town called Shiraz, which I don't know if you've heard of the wine, the grapevine that comes from Australia. Yeah. That's where that grapevine came from. Comes from my town, which is a town full of poets and 𝗦𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛 and 𝗪𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗪 and all those people. I don't know if you've heard of them. They all are there and buried. And so that's another very kind of cultural, arty kind of town. So yeah, I grew up majority of my life there. But coming and going to England in the summers, as you can imagine, because I had family here. So, and also spent a year in America. So that kind of sums me up, really. I've been around lots of places, dragged around from school to school, and yeah, it's quite a mixed bag.
Are you multilingual?
I speak 2 languages. I speak Farsi and English.
Okay.
And yeah, we were taught Arabic at school. I know a tiny bit of Greek, a few words in French. I wouldn't say multi, but I know more than one.
And you have a son, you mentioned a son. So how old is your son?
My son will be 11 in May. He's just
11.
He's still 10. He's still 10. We're hanging on to him being little still. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the teenage years. So he's still 10.
Yeah, I love that number 11. I don't know if you've ever seen, if you do 11 and do a search on YouTube, it's two Scottish guys in an elevator.
Okay.
And they say, which floor, please? And they say, it's all automated voice recognition. And they say, 11. And I say, sorry, I don't understand. So anyway.
I think we've seen that one, haven't we?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, it's quite funny. It is quite funny.
Exactly. So every time someone says 11, I'm always thinking of that. So sorry. Yeah. But so does your son also speak different languages or?
No, he doesn't. I tried speaking to him in Farsi to start with, and then it got to the point where we realized he had a linguistic issue. So I sort of decided to stick to one for now, and just trying to get through one language.
Yeah.
He had his own complete different language to anything.
He knows one Greek swear word. That's about it, I think. That's all he knows.
we learn the swear words. Even when I'm trying to learn like Brazilian Portuguese, they teach me the wrong things to say. And I'm introducing myself to our grandparents, like swearing at them, thinking with a smile on my face. So, but anyway, so as a child growing up, and now you got brothers or sisters?
I have one brother who's 10 years younger than me, and he's got Down syndrome. And I've got a sister who's 20 months younger than me, and she doesn't live that far away from me either. So we all moved to England and left my dad behind back in 1990. So my mum's around the corner, my sister's not too far away, my brother's kind of around the corner, and well, we're here.
You've got an uncle as well up the road.
Yeah.
So you left your dad there on purpose?
Well, it's a long story, but initially he said he would come, and then he changed his mind. So,
all right.
Yeah.
But you stay in touch or not?
We're on touch mainly on the phone. He's not very social, so he doesn't like traveling. He's kind of like staying where he is. So it's been challenging. It's always been us having to sort of make the effort. And obviously with COVID and my son coming along and some of the challenges we faced, it kind of got a little bit difficult. So it's been a long time since I actually went to see him. But we've maintained touch over the phone. And well, you know, like Kenneth, you have good days and bad days, don't you?
Yes, exactly. So let's just look at kind of what you liked when you were a child. So what were your typical hobbies and interests?
Well, I started off, the first thing I liked doing was playing with dolls. I've got pictures of me with my doll. I'm really into my dolls. And then I remember playing with Play-Doh. You know, I've got pictures of those, what I call assisted memory. But my actual passion, I think, was mainly drawing and writing. And I recall that was around when I was 7, where I used to draw a picture and then write about my diary of my day. And yeah, I just kept a diary ever since then, and dabbled with drawing and painting. When I was 10, a friend of my mother saw what I was up to, and she said, she's got a talent there. You need to send her some classes. So I started going to summer school just to learn how to draw and paint and use colors. And yeah, then I took to oil coloring. So I've kind of done that ever since. And now and again, I dabble in some poems, you know, it's kind of what I think rhymes. Not everybody would agree, but yeah, I like writing and I like painting still. And I love DIY. I'll knock down a wall. You know, nothing stands in my, I've knocked down a wall in my son's bedroom. I rang my husband up at work one day and I said, darling, that wall's coming down today. Get ready this weekend. You're going to be going to the tip.
Wow.
Is it your painting behind you?
I've got that one. No, that's my wedding picture, but I'll show you. This is what I was going to show you. This is what I painted. It's still not finished.
Wow.
Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yes.
That's fantastic. That's really good, Zara.
Thank you.
Yeah, when you said you did painting, I'm thinking like color by numbers sort of thing. But I mean, that is amazing.
Thank you. It's not finished. It's only had 2 coats. It's very intricate. It's a very intricate painting that I painted the original, well, the first version when I was 16 years old. And that was back in Iran where I couldn't get hold of thinners and to clean my brushes. So my brushes got a little bit too thick. So I always really wanted to finish it off. But you know, when I brought it back, I thought, I don't want to go over it. That's history. So I decided to paint it again. And a friend of mine had seen this and she really liked it. So I painted one for her sort of homecoming, because she had a new home. You know, like you buy people, you know, you take people a present when they've got a new house or something. So I actually drew her one. It took me about 6 weeks. This one I've been painting for nearly 13 years. I can't seem to get on with it.
Wow, so it's a long project then.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, but you mentioned also about keeping a diary and poetry. So you've maintained that then throughout your life?
Yeah, I did until my son came along, and then I think I didn't have time to scratch my head. And then I started I started writing a little bit. You know, when you kind of pretend that it's me time, everyone's gone to bed and you stay up late at night and then you feel really awful in the next morning. Well, I started writing a few poems here and there and then regretted staying up at night. So there was a few I wrote while Alex was little until we had the lockdown. Just before the lockdown, that's when I started writing again. So I've been fairly consistent since.
Yeah, just an idea. I mean, someone said it to me just the other day. I mean, converting stories into like an audio book.
Yeah.
And then so you can do all your poems as a collection of audio book poems. And then you can promote and sell it yourselves. I mean, you've got like Audible,
okay,
which you can do things like that. It tells you actually how to do it. And then you just market that and say, like, here's a collection of my poems. You get kind of a front cover made, and then you can then market and sell these if people would be interested.
So I had an idea of actually publishing just one version that I was going to self-print myself, and I was going to color in the front cover myself, and I wanted to put it up for auction, and it was going to have a minimal reserve because there's only going to be one in the whole world, and I really wanted to know what it would fetch. So that's the kind of idea I have put aside for my book of poems. It's not something that's going to be available to everybody, I don't think. And then later on, if publishers turn up and they want to do value exchange, and I'll talk all about that later, then we can start publishing it. So I have read the odd one on my YouTube channel, because not everybody knows how to read them, or, you know, the flow doesn't quite work. So only I apparently know how to read them. I've got a few ready. If you ever want to listen to one of them, I'm quite happy to read one.
Yeah, no, definitely. If you've got one to read.
Yeah. So the first poem that brought me here is a poem I wrote on self-compassion, really, which was one of the biggest lessons I learned from having Alex.
So when did you write this one?
It was a day when he was at school and I was feeling extremely overwhelmed.
How many years ago was this?
I'd say about three years ago.
All right. Okay.
And I was in the middle of just, you know, toddling around the house, putting washing away, going, oh God, I feel like doing something for me. And it just came to me. So I quickly ran downstairs and wrote it down. So here we go. I called it Nature's Way. I love the sound of thunder. It's nature's way to scream. And just before I hear it sound, there's a flash of light or beam. Everything we see around, there's a way to cry out loud. The fox at night, the dogs that bark, and that melted ice cream. The fox is looking for a mate. The dog wants to be let in. The ice cream warns us it's too hot as it's about to leave the scene. I'm not afraid of thunder. It reminds me I can shout. It pauses all the soldiering on and reminds me of my dream. That little voice within me comes slowly out to play. I'll treat myself to something nice and vary my routine. A chat with real friends I like, a cup of tea and cake, a bath, my painting, a poem or two, and some music in between.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. I could picture myself there with ice cream melting and the dog and the thunder. But I can picture it into a book, a kid's book.
A lot of my friends saw it when I started posting on Facebook, and they said, Zara, you could be the next Julia Donaldson. And it wasn't this particular poem, it was one I'd written about washing up, and it was actually about drinking and having a headache afterwards, and, you know, cups of teas. And another one of the ladies called M. Ronan, I probably need to introduce you to her. She made a Facebook video glittery thing that I've actually included in my demo for 𝗓𝗓𝗪𝗓. So I don't know if that's something everybody's seen, but I can share the link with that everybody afterwards. There's a music video, and that's just flashing in the background. So I like putting music videos together as well when I have the time. And I used to sort of do some editing when I went to friends' weddings, and because I think it's nice to have that memory when you look back, you know, when you're a bit older and you go, oh, that was us. Because we forget, don't we? It's the memories that we collect through life, and that's what matters at the end of the day. It's not the posh car or, you know, the Gucci handbag or whatever. It's those memories that we make together. Yeah.
But I think a lot of children actually started diaries and poems and things, and they never maintained it. And I know I did. And it would be magical to kind of find a book and then look back now and the kinds of things I would have written, and to see if I resonate more with it now than maybe what I did then. So I think this is something quite magical, and to reflect back on that.
Absolutely. My first set of poems was in Farsi, and I do have them upstairs. I've got them in a collection of books that I've written over the years, and I've got a condensed version. It's not that many. I probably wrote about 16, and I started when I was 16, and I was going through a very difficult time at home. And after that, that was just the only way I could cope, really, because there was so much pressure. There was just so much pressure internally, externally, everywhere I looked, that I just felt I had to express myself. And I think people got sick to death of listening to me go on and on and on. So I kind of took to writing, and that helped express myself. That helped me get through it. Yeah, definitely.
It's either in poetry or writing, or even listen to music. So, some music resonates more with you in the lyrics. And anyway, but moving on from that, so I'm very, very curious about 1978.
Oh.
Where were you in 1978?
Well, we spent a year in America. So my father is a professor of microbiology, and they did this thing where they go off on sabbatical year, you know, they swap with somebody. So we went from a massive, massive house, which my father had built, to this kind of 2-bedroom flat in America. It was a big shock. It was a big shock. But it was one of the best years of my life. It's quite strange. So my father had a lot more free time. And yeah, we just went out in the streets, and we were just mixing, getting up to all sorts we weren't meant to. So if I wasn't allowed to go in the woods, I came back with caterpillars. But we spent a lot of time together as a family. And we went camping all the way to Niagara Falls even. I remember one night it rained. But one particular fun memory I have from 1978 was, we went to the White House to collect Easter eggs. And I just wanted to meet Jimmy Carter. I don't know, that was my aim. I thought, I'm going to the White House, I want to meet Jimmy Carter. So I went behind the presidential desk looking for him under the table. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, where is he? And they're like, well, he's not going to be here today.
So this was a kind of a guided tour around the White House. I mean, when you pay and you go in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure, they must have bought tickets, I don't know, but I remember going to Washington.
I'm expecting you're going to sneak somewhere that you're not supposed to.
No, I wasn't sneaking anywhere, but it wasn't a massive crowd. There was only very few of us. So how they managed that, whether you're in a timely schedule. But I remember going with these Japanese friends of ours, and the little girl was called Tomoko. I don't know why I remember her, but we went off, and we've got pictures next to this bunny rabbit standing by the door into the garden. And we went into the garden and we collected eggs, Easter eggs, on Easter Day. Yeah. So that was one of the nicest memories we had.
But you didn't meet Jimmy Carter?
I don't know. I told myself he was standing in there in the bunny suit, but I suppose maybe that's the best I could do. Yeah.
Actually, that would be more fun if they did.
Yeah.
Because then
He was tall
but-
enough. He looked like he could be him. You know, I don't know. I just convinced myself that was Jimmy Carter. It might have been. Who knows? Who knows?
Did he hand you any peanuts though?
No.
He's
Exactly.
a peanut farmer, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
No. There were no.
Okay.
No,
So let's kind of move just into what you're doing now. But growing up, your study was chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
And did you want to focus on, I mean, studying that when you were younger? Was that where you wanted to go in that kind of area?
Not at all. I, to be honest, I wrote a piece about dreams, and whether I have that handy or not, I do. But it's my initial dream was to actually help people who were below me. That was my initial dream. Whether I can read this handwriting is another matter, because I've had an eye operation. So at some point, I think society dictates to you to be something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I decided I needed to be a doctor. I don't know where it came from. It possibly because my father does what he does. And I needed to sort of make him proud of me. So my focus was to be a doctor. And then something awful happened to my mother when I was 16. Which made me question whether or not I could be a doctor. And I thought, well, what if I was that doctor and I made that mistake? Could I live with myself knowing I've hurt their family? So then I knew I didn't want to be a doctor. And my father was like, well, you have to go to university. You have to be a doctor. I said, Dad, I don't want to be a doctor. Well, you have to be one. You know, how's it going to look if you're not a doctor? I said, Dad, I don't know, but I don't want to be a doctor. And in Iran, you either have to be an engineer or a doctor to be successful. You know, it's a very classist thing. You know, you're either educated or you're not, or you're somewhere in the middle and you're a businessman. That's it. You know, you're either poor or you're rich or you're educated. It's very kind of classist. So when we came to England, fast forward a few years, I had to do my A-levels all over again, because they wouldn't accept my diploma of science. And so I took on physics, chemistry, biology, well, not biology, and maths, mechanics. And I couldn't pass them all in 9 months. So I ended up dropping physics. They actually said I'd failed a lot, but you know, I had to prove something. So I managed to pass my maths and my chemistry. And for some reason, I just loved chemistry. I loved the theory of it, but I had very little practical experience. So I had to wait 4 years to become a home student, because that's how it was back there before I could qualify for a grant. And so I waited 4 years going, I want to go to uni to do chemistry. I went to uni to do chemistry in 2 years and I thought, I hate this. I hate this. So I went up to my tutor and I said, I want to drop out. And he said, well, you could drop out or you could carry on and you could always use it to do something else. So I did finish it. So that's the answer to your question. I did 1 year at Leatherhead Food Research Association as my industrial placement to confirm I definitely didn't want to do chemistry.
So now that you've got that, did you use it in any company that you worked with?
Not as such. I used it for 1 year of my industrial placement. So we studied for 2 years, then we did 1 year in industry, and then we went back to do our final year. But I think that just confirmed that I definitely wasn't, you know, because with chemistry, the way I explain it is like, I don't know if you guys have done practical chemistry. Has anybody done any practical chemistry here? No? Has anybody? Michael?
Boyan?
I haven't,
Boyan
no.
says.
Laszlo, have you done any practical chemistry? No? John? You must have done some.
Well,
Oh
did
yeah,
some-
I have a degree in chemistry and chemical engineering. So, and I could tell you, Sarah, you're smart enough to do chemistry, but it doesn't fit you, and you would have ended up very depressed.
I know. I was depressed in that year I was there. Said, you've done a bit of chemistry.
I'm industrial engineer, industrial automation. So we had practices also in chemistry labs and such things, if it counts.
Who's that? Is that Paul?
Boyan.
Boyan.
Yeah. And how about the other Paul in the investment something at Gmail? I can't, sorry, I've had an eye operation. I can't see it very well.
Yeah.
Have you done chemistry practical? I mean, to me, it was like standing in the kitchen, washing up all day long. after everything had gone wrong, and all I was making white powder to make more. What was that?
We're missing every second word, Paul. It's the connection from South Africa.
It's So yeah, so I spent a year in my industrial placement, and we were mainly working on oil and fats, and then I worked on milk and then beer, and to me it was just like, what am I doing? Because I saw myself as an extrovert, and I just didn't like being alone in a lab just on my own, and it just felt like everything was going wrong. So I knew straight away that that wasn't for me, that the practical side was very different to this theory side, you know, sat with your friends in a classroom. But when you're actually there on your own with all these pipettes and all these instruments, and it was just not me. And yeah, it bored me. It really bored me. I just needed to be around people. So straight away I was like, no, I'm branching out of this. What can I use my degree for? So it was a case of going, well, it's an analytical degree. And what can I do that's analytical and dealing with people? So I did an aptitude test through the Careers Centre. And I scored really highly for management consultancy. And I thought, what's that? I'd never heard of it before. It was just completely new to me. So I looked into that and I thought, well, you have to have gone to one of these top unis or, you know, really high, you know, I don't know, private schools or something along that line. And I thought, well, I don't tick these boxes. So it was a case of finding somewhere on the path that I could settle. And also I noticed that the management consultant position, a lot of them were living out of suitcases when I did a bit of research. And I thought, I don't really want to live from this hotel to that hotel and travel all the time. I'd wanted to be settled. So I kind of chose, aiming for project management, I decided to get into IT. So yeah, I went to night school. After that, I went to night school and I took on a diploma in IT. Yeah, and then I went down the job centre and found myself a job in sales support in IT, and that's how it really started before I took off.
So you have an IT background now?
You could say that. I mean, it's definitely outdated because you know how quickly IT moves on. So I'm not a geek in any way now, but yeah, I've dabbled with the basics.
Okay, but your chemistry is not wasted because it taught you a lot that can come in handy today. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, don't start me on the glyphosates. Don't start me on the glyphosates. But it also gave you kind of an education that you would ask questions. Yeah, and definitely. Because of that, and knowing what you knew, you're a bit more aware of what was going on than most people. So it definitely helped you to understand kind of the current situation and what it meant. The one thing I learned from my chemistry degree, James, is never believe what they tell you. That was the biggest lesson I learned from my university, because we learned one thing only to be told the next year to forget about it and learn something new. And I thought, hang on, I just wasted a whole year of my life to learn all this stuff and you're telling me it's irrelevant and I have to learn this now. So then you learn this and then, no, forget about that. That's not right. You have to learn this. And I thought, what am I doing here? Why have I got into debt to learn all this stuff, to unlearn it? Why are you confusing me? And so we went from the p orbitals to, oh, they don't look like that. They look like something else. And the s orbitals are here. And so we went through this whole thing at Surrey University. But you know what? It was really good for socializing. It was good for pushing yourself with your boundaries, with mixing with different cultures, because Surrey University was the place where people came from all parts of the world, and having to deal with, just people from different countries and different cultures, and understanding that, well, you can't just put people in boxes, can you? You have to just accept people the way they are, and everybody's got something nice to give, and never assume that's a goodie or that's a baddie, because, you know, we went through all sorts together over the 4 years. So if I look at kind of what you do, I mean, chemistry, I mean, it's science. I mean, you have to ask a lot of questions about that to understand. Yeah. But then also IT is a kind of science as well, in the way, well, why doesn't that work? And you've got to kind of figure out why things don't work and make them work again. And so you have to apply some critical thinking into all of this. Absolutely. And by doing that, is also giving you kind of a foundation that you can also help people. And I see that you're also very much into education and educating people on thinking differently as well, because it is far too easy to follow a path without questioning anything. And if you think of kids, I mean, I have 3 small kids and they're forever asking questions. They always say, Daddy, why is this, that? And most of the time, if I don't know, I've got to go and find it out.
Yeah, yeah.
And because they're asking, I've noticed also in the business world, we don't ask questions.
Yeah.
We don't ask it for the fear of the outcome. Now, just to digress a little bit, I mean, I've been in sales many years, and when you have a bad boss and you're in a sales meeting and then the boss is kind of dictating to you, not a leader, but more of a boss, because he's not there to help you, he's there to give you a hard time, right? Then you've got the question, the question you have to ask, but you don't ask it. You're hoping someone else is going to ask it for the fear of the outcome. Now, kids don't care about that. They'll just ask regardless, right? And you admire them for doing it. But as adults, we don't do it because we fear ourselves. It's the fear of ourselves because we can't handle the outcome. So when you talk about education,
one of the questions I wanted to ask everybody, sorry to jump in between, James, but you know, we all have to learn to walk. This is one of the things ages ago, and one of my posts I mentioned, we all have to learn to walk. And when a baby falls down the first time, we clap for it, don't we? We clap for it. We're like, well done, get up, get up. We encourage it. But somewhere down the line, we start thinking, oh, we can't do that in case we fail. And that's why I have a focus on education, because I'm like, when does that happen? When do we start getting so scared about making a mistake? Because surely that's how we learn, isn't it? And
exactly.
You know, I wrote a lot of questions when I was on LinkedIn when I first arrived, because I wanted people to question their definitions as opposed to just accept a word for what it was. And I wanted people to think what it meant to them. So I want to ask everybody here, if you don't mind me asking everybody, what is success to you? That's a big question, right? What is success? So I wrote, what is success? Now I'm happy to read it, or we can all have a kind of round robin and say, what's success to you? Who wants to go first? Go on, Michael.
Success. Well, we're all going to have different answers, I suppose, because of our experiences and the things that we've learned. But I would say success for me is helping other people, changing people's lives. I think if I can change people's lives, just one person, then I would say that's successful. To see someone that's down, depressed, going through a really bad time, and doing something that you can change for them, where you can see them smiling, happy, and changing their lives, where they actually go up that ladder, if you like. That to me is success. No doubt about it in my mind. That's why I do what I do.
Thank you. Who wants to go next? I'm taking over here, James, but I want everybody.
No, good. No, it's for you. I want you to ask the questions, or them to ask you questions.
Sorry, I'm going to scroll around. I can see Paul with the hands up. Anybody else? And
yeah, Boyan as well.
You're hosting. Do you want to pick who goes first?
I'll do it. So Boyan, I think you put your hand up first. So Boyan.
Right. Give hand to Paul. So for me, success, if I need to shortly define it, is not to stop. That's it. To move on. Carry on.
Carry on where? Like, I don't mean to be rude, but what if you're going like towards a cliff? Is that success?
You carry on. If you continue, it's another experience.
Yeah, get your swimming trunks on.
Well, we've all had a laugh.
You make a turn. You make a U-turn, and then you carry on.
Okay.
It's a movement. This is the more like.
Okay. So success to you is carrying on straight and then seeing the danger and then turning back on yourself. Is it going backwards?
It depends.
Okay.
It depends on the danger, so your perception of how you address it. You know, that maybe you can just go straight, or You move
Well,
aside.
maybe you've got wings. Maybe you can jump off the cliff, right?
You
Maybe
jump
you've
or
got
you-
a parachute. Who knows? Yeah, jump off the cliff if you've got a parachute. Maybe there's a beautiful scenery down there. Good
Yeah.
point. Good
Maybe
point.
you can fly. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
we can have parachutes, can't we? If
Yeah.
we're prepared, we could do that.
Okay, Paul.
We could.
Let's hear Paul.
Right. So like for me, like I'll just show my example. Like so I made some software for publishing magazine industry. And then yesterday, like I got some interns, okay, for my product development. And these guys were very, having a negative mood because we are in Bombay and, there's lots of unemployment and all those things. So they were in a very negative mood. So I was able to, give them good direction, tell them, yeah, you're learning accounts, you can do this, you can do this, you can learn this, and you can move out of the country. And, so they were, for them, their life changed. So they were able to see a completely different picture, both the guys like that. So and one guy, yeah, so that was that happiness that we are able to change their life. We are able to improve their life. And they're like, the way they were thinking was so negative because, there's so much unemployment and they're thinking, oh, we will be, they were in a low class thing. So they are worried that they will again be in low class, whatever they do. So I was able to guide them. I was just able to, so that was one thing. So that's one thing for me was success, like success. Though I didn't make my, whatever I've dreamt of, the bigger fun thing, whatever. So that's the one set of success. Second set of success, which I'm thinking is, I'm into software, but now I might shift into health and AI. So if for me success is that, like if I can extend your life, let's say your life is now a person's life is say 80 years to 90 years. And if we can extend our life till by using certain engineering, I don't know, because see the subject you said, chemistry. So chemistry, biotechnology, if I'm able to enter into that and I'm able to, do something through which we can extend the human life quality wise, and that would be success for me. I'm just, I just said my dreams, so wish and focus.
Okay, well, thank you, Paul, for sharing that. So my understanding of what you're saying there is two incidents that you felt good about yourself. Is that right?
Right.
And so you're defining success based on two incidents. But my question is, how do you define success? Like, what is success? Not like, when did you feel success? Like, what is success?
Right.
Here in the question.
Happiness.
Okay, I think
happiness that the person, happiness. Yeah.
Happiness. Okay, thank you. Who wants to go next?
Laszlo, I think. Did you want to go?
It's a very generic question, obviously, with generic answers. So something like achievement of goals or achievement of a purpose or achievement of a vision, something like that, be it professional, be it private, be it business, be it, anything, something like that.
Okay.
Just the first, top of my head, that's what would come to my mind.
So has anybody else? Actually,
I will go as well, but I'm just curious on John and Richard and Sia as well. So
well,
I'll go.
Okay, go on.
I'm sorry. Who was the last person who talked?
Laszlo.
He's real close to what I would say. Living according to your purpose, you're living according to your purpose. Success is if you live according to your unique purpose. That's what my definition is.
Okay, and Richard?
Yeah, I mean, I echo that. Basically, setting your goals, achieving them, being happy in yourself when you achieve them, not hurting others to achieve them, and not competing with other people's goals. Achieve your own goals. And again, your purpose. If you're achieving your purpose, then you are happy. If you're here to do what you want to do and you're doing it, then that is part of success, I think.
Okay, and Ziad? Did you?
Sayed?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes. So I think I could agree with everyone. The definitions from my end. I think success is a struggle to do better than what you are, and the capacity to understand that you can do better than today. So the entire struggle is a story of success.
So I wrote a piece on success. Would you like me to read that to you?
One second. Let me just say my bit, and then you can.
Yeah, sure.
Right. Okay. Sometimes I get left out. You see. being the host. So I would just say, I mean, I've thought about this over the many years, and I would say it just, to me, it just boils down to two things. So if I can go about my day-to-day life every day to serve and preserve humanity, then that's my success. So everything I do, my thoughts, the way I act on a daily basis is about serving one another. And if I can do that and then feel proud of myself, well, I don't have to feel proud. I mean, that's egotistic. I mean, to feel good that I am bringing a smile and doing something like to bring well-being and quality of life to people, then that's all that matters. It doesn't matter about money or materialistic things. It's nothing to do with that. It's about how we serve and preserve one another.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I wrote this piece. It got about 500 comments. It was the second piece I wrote. I haven't actually told you my definition, but I'm telling you what I don't think it is.
All right.
So it's kind
but you will tell us what you think.
I'll tell you what my definition is after I've read it.
Okay, good.
So what is success? I thought it was leaving my homeland, having overcome the challenges in my way. I thought it was passing my A-levels despite my tutor's predictions. I thought it was being able to choose what I wore. I thought it was fitting in. I thought I'd feel it holding my first paycheck. I thought it was getting through the 4 years before I went to university, but having reached there, that wasn't it. I met some like-minded people, which helped. I studied hard, played hard, and graduated, but that still wasn't it. I thought it was meeting the one and tying the knot. Well, that helped. But I learned more about success being a mum because it challenged me in every way. Being a mum made me face my shadows, be more accepting of my flaws, combating them because I had to find a way to give no matter how I felt. It made me question my values, even be more accepting of others. Watching a child grow teaches you a great deal. It helps finding your true self. You learn more about self-compassion as you cannot give from a half-empty cup. I feel more fulfilled and happier than I have ever been, all because I grew watching the one I brought into the world, my one and only true teacher, my son. Don't run from your shadows, face them. They stand in the way of you feeling successful.
Bravo.
So to me, it was questioning my values, going, what's important to me, as opposed to what does everybody else think I must be doing? Why is it that I'm doing this thing? Who am I? What makes me happy? You know, why am I taking on everyone's problems? You know, is this making me happy doing all this stuff? Or am I doing this for me? Am I doing it for them? At what point do I put me first? And I sat down and I listed my values and I thought, in what order? And then I looked into making sure they were balanced. And that's when I found out that was success. Don't know if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. So you mentioned you posted this
Yeah.
and you had lots of comments on it.
Yeah, I mean, this one kind of, a lot of business people turned up and they thought, oh yeah, you know, it was something that shook people, because up to then everybody was competing with each other going, I'm successful, I'm successful. I'm like, well, yeah, thank you, well done, but what is success? What are you defining as successful?
Yeah,
and
but I think like
different answers. Everybody had
Exactly.
a different answer. That was the amazing thing about it.
Which is good. And I think, like Michael said, I mean, we all have a different perspective on it. So what success to one might be different to another. So it depends on also your worldly experience. I mean, success would always be, oh yeah, you would get the car, the dream car. But is that really success? Or is that just like a desire for a materialistic thing?
Absolutely. That's why asking these definitions is so important. And John Lenhart's got this test. It's called the unique factor test, and it helps you find out what you need to do in order to be happy. That's your intangible driver. And we can talk about this another time. And I'm sure John will tell you all about it when you interview him.
Disappeared. I think, where's he gone?
Is he gone now? He did say he was in and out. But yeah, so there's people here, I hear they saying they want to serve humanity. That means they're a server. My husband's a server. I mean, I'm a server. I know Saeed's a server. Michael sounds like he's a server. So a server is somebody who he needs to serve. He needs to fulfill a need. And if you do that and you feel like you've done that, that makes you feel successful.
So in the essence of time, because we're going to just go over a bit, I just we want to understand what you're doing now and how are you not doing it, and where are you on that journey?
Where am I at the moment? Well, I've been kicked off LinkedIn for the timing. I mean, I could come back if I wanted to, but it's what I call definition of madness, repeating the same thing. So it's a case of getting what I need to get done, but without upsetting the apple cart here. Now, we don't want to affect other people's businesses. We're in the area of for the digital transformation. The 3D Forbes models failed. So let's talk business here. I'm actually leading in 5D. I've got a business model with 5D. I want everybody else to come up with the gaps potentially, or the what, you know, how the whole thing's going to hang together. So in the middle, there's people exchanging values. Then you have the second tier where we exchange values with the second tier. They exchange monetary with the third tier. So if that makes sense. So I'm all about exchanging values. I don't talk money, because the moment you start talking money, I believe, I see a trail to corruption, you see. I didn't mind helping people out to earn money. I supported a lot of people to drum up business. But when I started asking for help for small businesses to be set up, I don't know where you guys were, but nobody helped out. And I thought, right, I'm done. This group, I've had enough. I'm off to find another group now. So in a way, it's starting again. I've made lots of friends who've signed up to my ING Matter, which is www.ingmatter.com. I put a post up every day, and I check out people who need help on LinkedIn, whether they're job seekers, whether they have a job that they are advertising and nobody's seeing them. I try and connect those people, and hopefully we can just help raise those energy vibrations across and help people out of loneliness. I also run one-to-one workshops. So I'm there to talk to people who get stuck. And I also look to set up workshops with 5 people where we slowly get to know each other. And I'm hoping to mix and match the groups. So different people will be in different groups where like-minded people can have exchange of ideas and get to know each other, and hopefully find a project they want to work on and move forward with it. Hopefully that answers your question.
I think it's beautiful what you're doing. And I mean, what I've heard from others and what you've done for me as well, particularly as a LinkedIn user, is connecting people. I mean, you're looking at, I mean, I think it was even on a post that I made a comment on, and then someone else made a comment on, and then you said, oh, I think you two are thinking alike, let's connect you. So you've been the connector, and that connector has definitely helped, because then I've then reached out to the other person, and we've had a good, meaningful call because we resonate on similar things. Now, would that have happened before? Maybe not. And to have that person to make that introduction, I mean, yeah, as John said, you're not doing it for anything other than you can see the match. Now,
well, long term, I mean, long term, I suppose we will remain friends, you know, and one day, who knows, you know, maybe somebody can do me a favor. That's how I look at it. It's like you make somebody a cup of tea, and maybe someday they'd like to make you a cup of tea back. It's not expecting anything.
Yeah.
But, you know,
exactly.
I think if you leave people with a nice feel, then they will remember you, and maybe one day they'll want to help you out. You know, you can't go around expecting, because otherwise you'll be disappointed. But, you know, I like helping people. So to me, that's the win-win in its own. You know, I go away knowing I've helped somebody, and that makes me feel happy and successful.
Michael, did you want to say something?
Well, I have to say, I met Zara and Richard last week, and it was amazing, sort of just chatting over the things that that we've all sort of want to sort of get done in the future. Zara is quite an amazing person. She's connecting me up with some very important people, and hopefully we'll do a lot of work together later on, because you know, I've been working on my stuff for 18 years now, and it was all going to sort of kick off 2 years ago before the virus kicked in. But there's a lot I've got to learn still. I'm still at that baby stage. I'm an artist you know, there's lots of marketing and that sort of stuff that I need to learn. But the connections are really important, and it's about the right connections, especially on LinkedIn. You know, I've got a lot more people now that are following me and want to connect, but it's finding the right connections that we can help each other out, and that will happen in time. But no, I have to say, we had a great meeting. It was lovely. Well, saying meeting was just lovely, just to get to know each other and understand each other. And I sort of understood where Zara was coming from, and hopefully Richard and Zara both know where I'm coming from and know that you know, I'm genuine of what I've been trying to achieve. But yeah, it's all looking good, and I'm looking forward to working hopefully with both of them in the future and other people.
I also have an initiative which whoever can help me out with at some point. I'm not in a rush. I've called it the Magnolia Trust Foundation. It's only in my head called that, by the way. I can't get it registered anywhere. And the idea is to bring mummies and babies and mummies and babies and grandmas together. Because I noticed over COVID and before then, there's two generations here that really struggle. You've got the mums that once upon a time were working and their family left them. They're in an old people's home or they're alone in their house, and they're just, you know, wondering how their life went. And then you've got these young mums who similarly have fallen out with their mother for whatever reason, or they didn't have one, or, you know, whatever, drugs and prostitute, all sorts happen, don't they? People go into foster homes and they want to give a chance to their baby, but they don't have support, or they have a mother who doesn't want to be there and help out. So I wanted to give them a second chance. And I've got a really beautiful tree in my garden, and it's massive. It's about 150 years old. So the idea is I open the side gate when it's in blossom. You can see it from Christ Hospital, it's quite big. And people could turn up and have tea and coffee and get introduced. And there's a lovely swing underneath that tree that, you know, people could be there. I've got we got a trampoline as well, so if they wanted to bring the siblings, they could. I haven't got a massive garden, it's only about 80 foot, but you know, we could even have a little barbecue, who knows. And if people want to donate and get to know each other and meet each other, eventually I was hoping maybe somebody might leave a legacy towards helping out businesses in the future. So that's something that I've got as far as my vision. 𝗓𝗔𝗦𝗧 long term is a university for life. So I'm on hold at the moment whilst we get this COVID out of the way. But the way it works is people arrive on what I call mindset level 1, where life happened to me. I lost my job, I got divorced, you know, I'm in this state, whatever. And we help them through that stage. We support them to get them to the point where they can see a way out of this misery they find themselves in. And we introduce them to somebody that they will get on, whether it's the Myers-Briggs counterpart or whether it's along their unique factor. Again, there's some guidelines I have. And we got coaches above monitoring them so that, you know, they don't fall out, and somebody's there to catch them. And once they've completed that project, they move on to the next level, and then they can look after the people below them. And this carries on. And my thought process behind this was it's going to be a website that people pay, say, £100 a year or whatever to be part of. And it's an area where the members can interact with each other. They can discuss music, they can get together, there'll be a lounge, there'll be people coming and going. And so that was kind of the idea that I want. I also want my business partners to advertise each other on my website. So I advertise them, they advertise me. It's just a link that takes you from here to there to say, I approve of this and this and this person. If you're interested in this area, I know this person. It's an automatic connect for somebody that we've already approved of.
Beautiful. No, I think it's very good, and I like the idea of bringing different generations together. Mm-hmm. Because when I look into the eyes of my mum, who's a grandma, and then I can see that within her she was a child as well, and she's got that desire to want to play with my kids, and we often neglect that. We think, oh, this is an old person and this is a child, but in every old person is a child. So all that wisdom going to waste, and there's almost that love gone to waste, and how they both benefit, and we're not making use absolutely.
Of that.
They learn from each other. I learn a lot. People say, who inspires you? And I say, it's my kids. You say, it's not these entrepreneurs and serialpreneurs and whatever. I say, no, it's my kids. I said, because they make me want to get up every morning. Well, they make me want to because they get out of bed and want their breakfast. But besides that, I mean, they're the reason that I do what I do as well. But anyway, I love your story, and I love the foundation of what you want to do. And I think, yeah, on the positive side of the negative stuff that's happened over the last 2 years, it is, I personally think that it's helping bring people together, and helping people to open their mind to things that they really want, and that what they really want isn't materialistic things. It's the love and compassion that we can share with one another. And you see that, and this is exactly what you're doing with connecting people. And there's no obligation to do it. You do it because of the way you are. And I admire you for that. And it is something beautiful that if we all thought about doing that, the world would be a much better place.
Well, we can only do a little bit. I'm not perfect either. I've screwed up all over the place, God knows. I've gone ENTJ here and there, but I have apologized when I've noticed.
But I mean, you've been an absolutely wonderful guest.
Thank you.
And I love your story. I mean, from not knowing too much about you a few weeks ago, I've got to connect with you. You've connected me with others. And now I know a bit more about you. And it's that emotional connection that we get with people that helps on our journey as well, because we resonate with that. And I wish you great success in what you're doing as well.
Thank you. I think I'm going to take some quiet time to figure out how I'm going to do what on LinkedIn or wherever. I'd love to hear more about this platform of yours that you're setting up or you're getting together. So we need to talk about that offline at some point.
No, for sure, because I mean, your part plays a role within that, because ours is going to be something that is going to be a global scale for everybody. Brilliant. But there's going to be people that offer services like you do that would plug into that. Right. And here's Boyan's daughter.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to share my story with you and my initiatives with everybody. And I'd love to say I'd connect with you on LinkedIn, but I'm afraid I'm not there. But my website's there, and I'm always putting a profile to somebody in one of my blogs that I'm inviting you to go and check out. So that's instead of me connecting everybody going connect with this, connect with this. So I've checked them out. Up to you whether or not you don't. But what I've noticed is the way you grow on LinkedIn isn't going and commenting on the posts with like hundreds and thousands of things. It's going to that one person who's had how many likes and no comments. If you go and comment there, that's how you grow. So I find those people who are either looking for jobs or who have a job advertised. And to me, that's a win-win for both of you. Mm-hmm. So that's in my blog today. I've got a link to 2 profiles in there. Whether you want to check them out or not, it's entirely up to you. Yeah, and that's where you can find me. I also post my poems under the 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛. So I've got 2 websites. It's a bit greedy, I know. I've got www.iandrewmatter.com. Yeah. And then I've also got on the 𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛.
Yeah, so I put them.
I have a comment. I checked your blog. And also one of the links to your profile is not working somehow. So
it won't be. I don't exist at the moment. They've put me away. They've said they've permanently restricted my account. We're in the middle of to and from with LinkedIn support at the moment. I don't know how long for.
Anyway, I send you also a request for linking on Facebook. So.
Yeah, because she was on LinkedIn until they didn't like the algorithm picked up on someone was doing something too humanitarian.
I think I took away my Gmail account. That's what happened. I've only got a Proton Mail account. There's Alex. Hi,
Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Bye.
That was it.
Okay.
That was it.
That was the lesser spotted
you guys
Alex.
Are boring.
Right. Anyway, I'll share the links and everything that you put in the chat. And once I put this recording is finished, I just tidy it up a little bit and then put a front and back to it. And then I will share the links with you. And if you connect with me on LinkedIn, if we're not already connected, then let me know. And then I'll share the link there with you as well. So once again, Zara, you've been a fantastic guest. Our 72nd guest, a magical guest and something beautiful that you're doing. So yeah, keep up the good work there. And thank you once again to our audience that come on here every week. And feel free, it's every Friday, always a different guest. And the more diverse, the better. And if you'd like to be a guest and you haven't already, then yeah, just let me know and then we can have you on the show. So with that, I wish everybody a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you again the same time next week.
Brilliant.
Lovely
Thank you
weekend.
very
Bye.
much.
Bye,
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you. All the
Thank you.
best.
Bye-bye.
Robin,
Thank you. Bye.
take care. Bye.